Hello and welcome to Warp Factor Unknown, a podcast where we select an episode of Star Trek at random and we discuss it, share our thoughts and feelings. My name is Daniel and I'm here today with my co-host, Tom.
Hello Dan, nice to be here today. I'm looking forward to discussing all the episodes of Star Trek. Especially like the idea we're going to be discussing it in random, so we'll spin a wheel, we'll choose one of the 12, I believe, series of Star Trek that we have on offer, and then we're going to spin the wheel again to discuss an individual episode. We're going to give our thoughts, our feelings on each episode, we'll go into what we feel, also like what that episode of Star Trek means to us personally. So looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
Should be really good, and I hope you all enjoy the ride too.
Yeah, so the idea behind today's episode is more of just like an introduction, it's like an episode 0 before we actually get properly into our rewatch. We just wanted to have a little talk about ourselves and what Star Trek as a franchise means to us, and then discuss a little bit about how we're going to watch these episodes, how we're going to select them, and I guess like a little basic rundown of a little format of our show. So, Tom, do you want to kick us off? A little bit about yourself and a little bit about Star Trek, what it means to you, what you're expecting out of this podcast. Go for it.
So I got into Star Trek when I was at college. I was studying for computing qualification, and somebody had the old videotapes. And the first one they gave me was, they said, watch this, it'll blow your mind, it's best of both worlds. So they gave me this VHS tape, I put it in, and I was instantly hooked. I didn't know who these characters were, but I absolutely loved it. So I went back to this guy at college, I said, give me more Trek. So he gave me, right from the very start, all these VHS tapes he had collected, starting with Encounter at Farpoint. And as soon as I started watching it, I was like, this is amazing. This is the TV show I have been waiting for. I watched it, I was hooked. I went back to college and said, please give me the whole series. He then dumped a series load of videos on me, which was, I think of a videotape probably about 2 foot high of
VHS and not small.
And yeah, so I got through these in probably about, let's say 3 days. I was just binge watching it. Went back for more, second series.
Definitely focusing on your college work.
And this guy, he would, yes, absolutely. I mean, it improved it in some aspects and did not in others. But he gave me the first series up to, believe it was series 6. And then he said, you must stop Next Generation there. You must pause. And you must now start DS9. So then he was very adamant about this. I must watch DS9 to a certain point, stop DS9, and then watch Voyager. So he knew exactly when the series started, when it would end. And I was like, this is great. So I got introduced to Picard. I got introduced to Cisco. I got introduced to Janeway. I was like, this is fantastic. There were now 3 captains. It was brilliant. I mean, Enterprise wasn't even in existence then when I was watching it. It was just
really showing your age there.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know what to say about that, but yes, I'm very old. I'm ancient. I'm not old enough to watch the original series. Actually, I've not seen more than 2 episodes of the original series.
Oh, interesting.
So I would like to watch these, and I'm hoping the wheel, when we spin it, lands on a good original series episode. I'm sure they're all good, but I would like to watch. So that is my hope. But anyway, so yeah, that was my introduction to Star Trek. Just a random encounter with a guy at college that was really into it, and really into the sort of structure of it, and when one series started, when another ended, or was even like part way through. So when I saw DS9, I was like, I feel comfortable with this because Picard was in the first episode. I was like, it's amazing. This is what I want to see, this continuation. So yeah, that was my introduction to Star Trek, and from there I was hooked. When the DVDs came out, I remember collecting them. I got all the box sets from 1 to 7 of Next Generation, and I couldn't stop from there. I just kept watching Star Trek and loved the whole universe of it.
Cool. So you said you've not seen much of the original series. Have you seen any of the newer shows? Like Discovery, Picard, any of those ones?
Yeah, I watched the first... So there's been three series of Picards, right?
Yes.
So I watched the first 2 series, and for whatever reason I've not watched the third. I think I watched the first series of Discovery, which I really enjoyed. And I watched, I would say, the first few episodes of the first series of Strange New Worlds. Again, I can't say why I didn't watch the rest, but I think it's more to do with I'm so comfortable with, Picard,
I know the feeling.
Janeway and Siska. They just feel like old friends.
Yeah.
And having a new captain is kind of, I don't know. It takes a while to get to know someone, right?
Yeah.
So for me it takes me a while to get to know people and captains, and the captains just I'm sure I will watch it now and absolutely love it all.
Maybe we'll hit on like a random episode and you're like, oh wow, this is it, this is my new life now.
This is the one.
Or maybe not, maybe it'll reinforce it. No, actually, don't want to watch anything.
Maybe.
No. Captain Pike, no way.
Yeah. So this is not Picard, this is not Sisko, not Janeway. But I'm hoping I will love all captains that come along. Apart from, I did watch Discovery season 1, and that captain of that series,
Michael Burnham.
Michael Burnham.
Yeah.
He turned out to be not a good captain.
No, you mean Lorca.
Lorca. That's who I mean. Yes. So Lorca. I was like, no, I do not like Lorca.
No,
so you trust another captain, and then
they break your heart.
They do that to you. I was like, no. Can I trust again? I'm willing to give it a chance.
Time will tell.
So how about yourself?
Yeah, so I will possibly age myself here a little bit, not quite as aged. I got into Star Trek a slightly bit later. I got in with the 2009 J.J. Abrams movie, again at college. Friends who were in cinema, went along, loved it. It's an action movie, it's sci-fi, it's very pew-pew. I didn't really know what Star Trek was. And, after friends talking, and I had some friends who were fans of Star Trek, and they encouraged me to watch Voyager. They were really into Voyager at the time. And I remember watching Voyager on YouTube, and it was like 480p, it was really bad quality. And, YouTube would still take it down, so it would get flagged with copyright. And there was like a few channels that were uploading it constantly, but then getting flagged down. So, you have like a day or two to watch the episode, and then it would go. And, I watched all of Voyager like that on this basically a potato, and then from there I would catch random episodes on TV of DS9, Enterprise, and Next Gen. But Next Gen, when I first saw it on TV, I didn't like it. I did not like Next Gen, and it was the aesthetic of the Enterprise with its wooden big conference thing and the carpets. It just looked dated and stale compared to I thought that things like Voyager and DS9 and whatever, they looked more realistic,
modern,
a bit more modern. It looked more like what a spaceship would actually look like. But after a few episodes and chatting with friends and whatever, then I sort of learned to love the characters, and then now with Design Enterprise, it doesn't bother me at all about that. The D's pretty good.
So you went from film first of all,
into then like the 90s shows.
This is Voyager.
Yeah. I can't remember what came next. I think it was a bit of like a all at the same time between DS9, TNG, and Enterprise. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people like sort of look down on like Enterprise a little bit, but I think because I watched them all kind of at the same time, I sort of have nostalgia for them all. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't like. I see the faults with Enterprise. There are some. But then, by the same token, Next Generation's got some proper stinkers. It's got some awful episodes. So,
it really has.
Like that's not me saying Enterprise is better than Next Generation. I'm just saying I like them all equally. And on that note, it's like, I have seen all Star Trek, to the best of my knowledge. And I love all Star Trek. It is all good for all of its different reasons. And I'm currently doing a rewatch of all Star Trek now. And I'm doing that with another podcast. Roddenberry, a Star Trek podcast. Mission Log? Something like that. And that's pretty good. And so far I'm up to Season 7, DS9. So slowly going through it, but they're still not finished Voyager yet. So I'm looking forward to them getting into Enterprise as well, because I want to rewatch Enterprise. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to rewatching episodes that I've seen before, especially if you've not seen them. I think that'd be really quite interesting. And also, I've not rewatched. I've watched all the new stuff, but I've only seen it once. So I would like to sort of dive into and just get a random episode of Discovery or Strange New Worlds or something. But that's kind of that's my expectations for the podcast, just to sort of just watch more Star Trek. I just love watching Star Trek.
And I think what you're doing with listening to the podcast afterwards is a really good thing. I remember when I was like halfway into DS9, I got the DS9 Companion.
Oh.
So it had any episode you watch, you could open the book and think, what's the backstory behind this episode? And you could see like the special effects, what went into it. You could see what the troubles were making it. You could see the budget constraints. You could see everything. That was sort of like, yeah, this is kind of really nice to know. But it was just like a page on each episode. Whereas having a full podcast dedicated to each episode nowadays, I think is so much better.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just two guys just, chatting about how, whatever they take from the episode. And, because obviously there's no way that, like, that podcast and sort of going through that exercise is definitely sort of like kind of like an inspiration for doing this a little bit. I'll try not to just nick their opinions.
No, I think doing this is a really good thing, because it will, for myself, I watch Star Trek, I might remember some parts of it, but I just watched an episode of Star Trek, love it, but then go on and just carry on with daily life. Whereas to actually think about it and discuss what sort of values you learned from that episode, what you liked, what you didn't like, what characters' personalities were like, and why they were like that, I think is going to be really good, and will hopefully make me appreciate Star Trek even more, and make me like it like I did back at college.
Well, actually, on that note, do you want to just have a little chat about just how we decided to do this podcast? Because it was a few nights ago, you was just round my house, and we were just chatting, and we just ended up putting on an episode of Star Trek, the next one on my rewatch list, and it was The Valiant, DS9. And I mean, before we watched it, I was like, it's a bit of a naff one. It's not a good one, and I was a bit, let's not watch it. But you pushed, and we did watch it, and then when it finished, we just was chatting, we was going for it, and was having this little talk about it, and actually that conversation made me appreciate the episode more.
Yeah. Even though I do this thing where I occasionally check like a internet review database. I can't think of the name now, but for example, I would check into it that episode, and it got a low rating. So I was like, it's a bad rating, but sometimes the bad episodes can be quite fun to watch with a friend, because you start picking it apart. You start thinking, this didn't work. I see why this got slated a little bit. But this episode, there were parts of it that didn't work, but I actually really enjoyed watching it, and I enjoyed the episode probably more than if I'd have just watched it on my own. Actually watching it with someone, thinking, that this works, this didn't work. So I liked it. I liked the acting. I thought the captain was like, the fact that there was these this crew of Red Squad, very sort of proud of their own achievements, but acting sort of separate for Starfleet. I just really enjoyed it.
They were so smug. They were they were just so punchable.
Especially the captain. It was like,
No, it was his first officer about that girl. I can't remember any of their names.
No, I can't. But no, it's things like that I liked that episode. Wasn't the best, but it was just fun to watch, and I think it was really good. And I would watch it again, and hopefully we will. Maybe we'll spin the dial,
maybe,
and it may end up on that episode.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And then we might spin the dial again, and it might end up on the episode again. So for a third time, we could be like. But I think we should have a no repeat episode.
Well, clause. I was about just to move us into sort of the in quotes rules of our little podcast here.
Yeah.
So in a minute, at the end of this, what we're talking about now, we'll select the episode we're going to watch for our actual first rewatch. But as you pointed out, if we somehow hit an episode that we have already seen, I think we should basically flip a coin, and like heads we go up an episode, tails we go down an episode. If that makes sense. So
that's a good idea. Yeah.
So we're not rewatching, because I mean there's nearly 900 episodes of Star Trek. I don't think we're going to hit it again, but you never know.
No.
And also the shows that we are watching, by my count, there are 12 shows. Do you know what they all are? So,
I'm going to try and name these. I know we went through them the other day.
I won't hold you to the release order.
Okay, so we have the original series. We have Next Generation, which is my personal thing I grew up with. We have DS9.
Yeah.
We have Voyager. We have the Star Trek individual episodes. I believe you mentioned these the other day,
the shorts.
The shorts.
Yes.
The shorts. We have the Star Trek shorts. I missed that the other day because I thought, is this a series? But it is a series in its own right. So
we'll come down in a sec.
Yeah. We have Lower Decks.
Yeah.
We then have Enterprise. I will forever remember Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
So for me, it was like, Star Trek Captain, Quantum Leap, Ziggy, and anyway, he made a fantastic Captain. I saw the first few episodes, but that is also a series I'm looking forward to rewatching because I've only seen half of the first series. Don't ask me why. So, continuing on, what else is there? There's Discovery.
Discovery. We've got 8 now. A few more.
8. We also have A Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
We have Picard. Picard, which is 10. So to get to 10 is good. It's good. The films don't count as a series.
Would you like a clue to the two you're missing?
Please.
They're both animated.
Okay, so we have Star Trek the Animated Series.
Good, that was the easy one.
Yeah. We have Star Trek Lower Decks.
You've done that one.
Okay, we do not have Star Trek Lower Decks. We have...
I know you've not watched it.
Right.
I mean, 11 out of 12 ain't bad.
What's the last one?
Prodigy.
I wouldn't have even guessed that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even guess that. I know it for now because I just think of the drum and bass.
It's more of a kids show, and it's got Kate Mulgrew as Janeway back in it.
Okay. So 11 out of 12, I'm happy with that.
11 out of 12. So the reason I want to mention the actual specific shows we're going to watch is because one's like Star Trek shorts and the animated series. They're both very short. So I think the animated series, the episodes are 15 or 20 minutes long.
Okay.
And the shorts are, I think, between 6 and 15 minutes long. So I think we can do it however we like, but if we was to land on a short episode, well, we can't talk for an hour about a 6-minute, little show.
No.
So I'm personally happy just to have a shorter podcast, a shorter episode that week.
Yep.
We could do like 2 shorts or, same with the animated series. We might struggle to fill that. But I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't actually set like a limit of a goal for how long we want these discussions to last. Like even if we got a 2-parter episode, we might only talk for 20 minutes. That's okay.
Yeah.
We haven't got to talk for hours and hours. Oh yeah, and on that, we're still a bit undecided. Is that right about what we're gonna do if we hit a 2-parter? Like if we hit Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 or Part 2, what would you rather do?
So I think if we have a 2-parter, we should just do it in one podcast, but maybe it's a longer podcast.
So watch both episodes.
Episodes, then discuss it.
Yeah.
We could even, within that podcast, discuss the 2 separate episodes, but have like a bit of like, we're now going to discuss part 2, or we could do it as one whole.
Maybe just sort of see how it goes.
Yeah.
But then obviously with the exception being that we wouldn't watch entire story arcs. So things like DS9 have got some long story arcs. Enterprise has got a couple. And obviously the later shows, Picard, Discovery, they're like season long. We can't watch. So it will just be, we will hit on a random episode. And if it's in the middle of a story ongoing, we'll just roll with it. And we can, if we can't, for whatever reason, discuss the story, that's fine. I'm sure there'll be other things we can chat about.
Because within these story arcs, I'm sure they have like individual episodes as well. Focus on the character, which maybe are outside of the arc, so we get to sort of discuss that. I think that's a good idea. I'll have the arc as maybe treat it as individual episodes, and then these 2-parters or even 3-parters.
I think that I remember there's at least one 3-part. I think it's in DS9. Don't quote me though.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see when we come up when we spin. Yeah. Well, and I guess on that, I suppose also, we're only planning on doing 10 episodes. We're not doing all Star Trek because that would take years and years and years.
I think 10 episodes is good because it's going to be a random choice of the 12 possible series.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, for yourself, you watched most of these.
I'm pretty sure all.
If not all. For myself, I probably watched maybe 40% of Star Trek.
It sounds like you've definitely watched TNG, DS9 and Voyager in its entirety.
Yeah.
And then sporadically a few series of the later stuff. But then, just a bit of not much here or there.
Yeah, I'd say that's correct. So 40%, I'm happy now to increase that to 100%. But for the purposes of the podcast, I think we'll take it 10 episodes at a time.
Yeah, which will increase by about 0.5%.
So that's good. So I'll be happy with 40.5.
Yeah.
I think that's a good number to aim for.
I mean, imagine if this ignited a love of you in you just want to go and watch all of the original series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But Tommy, you come around for the podcast, I'm like, Dan, I cannot. I'm busy binge watching the whole series of TNG. Or DS9.
DS9, yeah.
Or Voyager.
Actually, I'm just coming to the end of that, and that's it's pretty good.
So Dan, what's your experience with podcasting?
That's a good question, Tom. absolutely zero. I have no experience of podcasting at all. I have nothing to draw on. I listen to a few podcasts, not many. I wouldn't describe myself as an avid podcast listener, so I have no idea if the format we're choosing, I have no idea if this is going to work, or this is the, in quotes, correct way to do a podcast.
I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, jump
By
in with
not knowing,
yeah.
you can only learn.
How about yourself?
So for myself, I have listened to podcasts. I like Last Podcast on the Left, which is a horror podcast to do with evil people throughout history and events that have happened. I really like their format where they discuss the event. They spend a couple of hours just having a good time talking about what each person has found out from researching this person or this event. And I'm hoping a similar sort of thing will be true of us in this. We can watch the episodes, find out what's important to us, what we take away from it, and basically I'll be learning as well, because never having done a podcast, having listened to a few, but not ever having made one, I'm looking forward to making mistakes.
I do think you've got a bit more experience than I do, though, because you have dabbled, I think is a good word, in YouTube videos and music recording. So you've got a little bit more experience than I have.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to,
I assume there's some crossover in those two mediums.
Using audio for music purposes, because I play guitar and trying to do edit things, and if I make a wrong note, I'm like so I will then be able to pause the recording, cut that out, splice it together, and also with the levels, if there's a massive peak of sound and a tiny little bit of sound, I have the basic knowledge to be able to sort of make the levels the same, do a bit of EQ to make the sound good. So yeah, I have a basic sort of recording and editing knowledge, but I will still be learning a lot from doing this podcast.
He says basic and simple, but he has come here today with a professional microphone, so we have that on our side as well.
I have my very fancy Blue Yeti, which has served me well these years, and still does.
Hopefully will serve Star Trek well as well.
I'm sure it will.
Okay, right. So yeah, let us spin for the first episode. So I have just one of these online spinny wheel things. They are all there. So I'm going to click, and we're going to get our show.
Okay, that was very close.
That was very close. That is
But
DS9.
We have DS9.
Deep Space Nine, baby! Yes.
Excellent.
So good. I love DS9. Yeah, as I'm actually going to be watching it, so
Yeah.
I'll be very annoyed if the one it throws up is 5 episodes ahead of where I am right now.
Yeah.
That'll be a bit annoying, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will be happy with any episode of any series apart from Calamari 1, 2, 3.
Yes. Okay. So now we're going to spin this wheel again to select this series. So we selected our show out of 1 of 12. We're now going to do 1 out of 7 because there are 7 series in DS9. Here we go.
Series 2.
Season 2. So definitely Sisko's got hair. He's not bald yet.
No.
We don't have a Defiant. Is Bashir still a douchebag? Is he still sexist?
He was-
Possibly so.
He was a massive douchebag in season 1.
Yeah.
I think
He cooled off a bit by season
he
2.
cooled off a little bit. Sisko doesn't go bold until season 5, from what I remember.
Yeah, it's a bit later on.
So season 2.
Season 2.
I think I remember having some good episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I have only fairly recently watched it. This year. I can't remember it all. Okay, fantastic. Now we're gonna roll for our episode. So we're on DS9 season 2. We're gonna roll for out of 1 of 26. Here we go.
23.
23. Right, let's pull it up, see what it is, because we obviously have no idea what they are. Crossover.
I remember this being quite good.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to read the synopsis, see if either of us remember it, and then we're going to have a little chat about our expectations and all the rest of it. So, Kira and Bashir accidentally cross into the Mirror Universe, where a Klingon-Cardassian alliance rules and the Terrans are slave on the station. A century before, James T. Kirk had made a similar crossover affecting human and galactic history. Have you seen this episode?
I have seen this episode. I seem to remember with DS9 the crossover episodes into this mirror universe all being very good, and I particularly remember this episode as being excellent, although I'm not sure why. I just remember Kira is very good in it, for whatever reason. The acting I'm talking about, of course, just very good.
Definitely not because
amazing.
She's extremely sexy in the mirror universe.
Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
No, so it's just an excellent episode. Worf is in it. I remember Odo being quite like malicious and malevolent and cruel.
Is Worf in this one? It's season 2.
Yeah. So Worf is not in this one.
Is he not?
No.
No, that's fine. Sorry, that's fine.
Is he? But he's in a
later one, definitely.
He's in a later one. How about your opinions?
Yeah, so again, I have also seen this episode, and I've also unless there's any more in season 7, I have seen quite a few of them fairly recently. These crossover mirror universe ones. Some of them are better than others. They're not all that good. This one is pretty good. I seem to remember quite liking this one. Again, yeah, Odo comes across. He plays that slave driver so well.
Yeah.
He's so good. Yeah. Pretty pumped. Have you seen the original series crossover one with Evil Kirk and Evil Spock?
I've heard about it. I have not seen it.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, I've not got much to say about this one because I can't actually remember the story. I think I remember Kira she becomes a plaything of Sexy Kira. We'll call her Sexy Kira. So regular Kira and Sexy Kira. So she becomes a plaything. And Bashir gets put in the mines.
Which is led by Odo, is that right? He's
led by Odo.
Yeah. I remember it being really good. I
remember enjoying it.
I am definitely looking forward to this one.
Fantastic.
It's interesting that Kirk visited, because I've never seen that episode where he did. So it'd be nice. Hopefully we can watch that at some point.
Yeah.
Just get a bit of backstory on this one. But
well, even if it doesn't come up in this podcast, we can just rewatch it.
Definitely.
Whenever.
Yeah.
I think they mention it in this one. Well, it's in the synopsis anyway. But I don't think it plays. You don't have to have seen it. So now we're gonna go away, and what's the plan for? Oh, that was it. So we're gonna go away, and we're gonna try 2 different formats of watching this, of how we're going to do these rewatches. We're still a bit undecided about how we want to actually watch the episodes. I think this time with this episode, we're going to watch it sort of individually, and then we're going to come back and then discuss it. But then with the next one, we're going to sit down together in the same room and watch it then, and then sort of come up and record straight away. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
and we're going to sort of see which one lands, which one works better for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to go away, watch this episode, come back, and then chat.
I think both have their advantages. I think watching it separately, you can take notes, you can sort of, focus on it, pause it when you want, take a note. Whereas when you're watching it with, say, us 2 together, we might be talking through it, we might be sort of discussing points. So they're both going to bring out their strengths.
Yeah, I think I'm personally leaning a bit more towards the watch it separately, just because it's that note taking. I kind of do want to take some notes and maybe look up something. So I really quite dig the Star Trek ships. Whenever there's a ship on screen, I like to go look at the class and stuff and all that stuff. But it's not super important for this.
So thank you for joining us on Warp Factor Unknown. We look forward to next week discussing the episode Crossover, the Mirror Universe episode with Kira and Bashir
and other Kira
and Odo.
Only one Odo.
Just the one Odo.
A mono Odo.
And not Worf.
Not Worf.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in today to our little podcast. If you would like to contact us, please drop us an email at warpfactorunknown@outlook.com. That again is warpfactorunknown@outlook.com. The music we used today was by Jeff Harvey. It's called Starfleet Command, and you can find him and his other works on pixabay.com.